What is up, all my fellow weebs and weebettes? It is I, AnimeALX, back again with the final installment of the best build guides before Sunbreak. And for our last weapon that we have to showcase is the Sword and Shield. Now, I've made every single Sword and Shield from Element to Ailment and to great raw options. So this is basically going to be the grand finale, and the first Sword and Shield that starts it off is going to be the Flash in the Night, which is the Nargacuga Sword and Shield. This is going to be the ultimate Sword and Shield build where you gain the most DPS than any other build for raw, that is. The reason why is we get natural white sharpness, no element, 30% base affinity, a level 2 slot, and we get 188 attack after we ramp up our Sword and Shield for attack boost 3. We are wearing 5-piece Valstrax armor, which will grant us Dragon Hearts level 5, which at 80% and under, or if our health is at 80% and under, we will gain a 10% damage increase. On top of that, we also have Demon Petulance 3 to boost our damage, and our Fatal Tempest Talisman is an attack boost level 3 with 2 level 1 slots. For the decorations, you will need 3 critical jewel 2s. So we can get crit boost 3, and we can get boost our damage by 40% when we land crits. You will need 1 attack jewel 2, so we can get attack boost level 4, so we can increase our damage by another 5% while adding plus 7 raw onto our base raw damage. And you are going to need 2 Guardian Jewel 3s. So when you guard and you can proc offensive guard, you will gain a 10% attack increase. You'll need 3 Grinder Jewel level 1s, so you can have speed sharpening level 3, so you can instant sharpen. And then you'll need Fatal Tempest, or in my Fatal Tempest Talisman, at least I have 2 extra 1 slots, so I just fit in Steadfast Jewel level 1s so I can have some stun resistance. But you can use any of these slots to your whatever your heart's content. And also, if you do not have this exact Tempest Talisman, all you'll need is an attack boost level 2 with a level 2 or level 3 slot. So fairly inexpensive to get. Coming over to the status, you will be gaining 80% damage or 80% crit. You can use a fighter cat to gain 110% crit, so you're always critting if you so choose. If 80 is not enough for you, you feel that is. And also you will gain access to resuscitate, giving you a bonus 20 flat attack damage. And when you're in red health, you will gain resentment, which is another 15 flat attack damage. And that is the ultimate Sword and Shield. I almost said Switch Axe. That was the last video. That is the ultimate Sword and Shield build. Give you the most DPS. Next on our list is going to be one of many Ailment Sword and Shield builds, or and I want to say that if you want to use Sleep Sword and Shield or Paralysis Sword and Shield, all you have to do is use the Rampage Sword and Shields and ramp it up for Paralysis level 1 and Sleep level 1, and make sure you have Sharpness type 1 and Affinity Surge, and then you will be good. So this is going to be the poison sword and shield. And why did I only make a poison sword and shield? Well, because wait a second. The only reason why I made a poison sword and shield is because this sword and shield actually has some pretty high raw and can nearly match the ultimate sword and shield build. If it's not in Dragonheart. This is also really good. This also is a really good build if you just want to use as it is. If you have a healer on your team, I would recommend using this build because this will be the better in general build for any fight. This is also the Kushala killer and really not, and you can use this in the Rampage. I don't remember if I made a blast sword and shield because I didn't remember if any blast sword and shields were like worth it. But we'll get into that in a second. The build is going to be the Kaiser Crown, which is Teosha's helmet, the AnimeALX, Sinister Gauntlets S, which is Magnamalos arms, Chrome Metal Coil, and Golden Hakama legs, which is Rajang legs. We are using a Demon Pelence 3, and my Thunderous Talisman here is a level 2 Protective Polish with a level 1 slot. However, if you have a Protective Polish level 2 with a level 2 and a level 1 slot, that will be the best because then you could get Protective Polish 3. Actually, no. Then you can actually fit in another crit eye. My bad. But this is going to be a very good solid budget build, even though the talisman could be better. It's not really make or break, thankfully. Now for the decorations, you will need 3 grinder jewels. You'll need 1 sharp jewel 2, 3 tenderizer jewel 2s, and 1 handicraft jewel 3 and 3 venom jewel 1s. So you can get critical eye level 3, crit boost level 3, weakness exploit level 3, poison attack level 3, handicraft level 3, so you can get white sharpness, and speed sharpening level 3. Also, by the way, if you are watching this on Twitch, thank you for the subscribe with the Prime. Anyways, coming over to our status, we have 25% affinity. You should use the fighter cat so you can get 55% affinity, and then the weakness exploit will take you to 100% affinity or 105% affinity, and you will be doing some really great damage. Like I said, this is kind of your best option after the ultimate SNS if you are looking for an in general build. Also, by the way, it looks like I didn't build a blast. I didn't build a blast sword and shield, but that's probably because you could just use the poison sword and shield for the rampage. Usually blast is the better one to use during the rampage, but the poison SNS is just really stacked on damage, poison hits, and white sharpness. Also affinity, that it just kind of outclasses all the other or the blast element. For our next side grade, sword and shield, is our high ninja sword. Now, you might be wondering why do we need the high ninja sword if we have the ultimate sword and shield in the poison sword and shield builds. The reason why you use this one is actually for Arzuros. Normally, because Arzuros doesn't really have that great of hit zones, in that 100% affinity from the get-go is really, really great, because you got to remember, Arzuros is the main part where you're fighting Arzuros is kind of his back end, and that's not a weak zone, so you're essentially just getting your base affinity and not getting anything from weakness exploit. So you use this sword and shield, and you can get the most from hitting his back or his non-weak zone because you have 100% affinity from the jump. Now, for this build, you get 200 attack, so fairly decent attack, blue sharpness, 100% affinity, which is the real draw to it, no element, 3 level 1 slots, and for the rampage slot we are putting Silkbind boost so we can hit Arzuros with some mean Shorigeki uppercuts. The Shorigeki Mitsurugi, that's how you pronounce it. But that is for the High Ninja Sword, and for the armor that we are using the Baroth Helm S, the Vikemel S, the Sinister Gauntlets S, Anjanath Coil S, and the Hunter's Greaves S. So kind of very early game armor, early to mid game armor. For the Fatal Tempest Talisman, we are using my handy dandy attack boost level 2 with a Divine Blessing level 1 with a 3 and a 1 slot. All you need is an attack boost level 2 with a 3 slot in this build. For the decorations, and keep in mind we are using the Demon Petulance 3. For the decorations, we have 3 Grinder Jewel 1s, 2 Steadfast Jewel 1s, 2 Sharp Jewel 2s, 3 Critical Jewel 2s, 2 Guardian Jewel 3s, 3 Bomber Jewel 1s, and 1 Brace Jewel. Actually, that 1 Brace Jewel should have been the extra Steadfast Jewel. I don't know why that was there, but yeah, 2 Steadfast Jewels. Or feel free to use the Brace Jewel if you want to. The Steadfast Jewels and the Bombardier Jewels are literally just add-ons. The only reason why I have Bombardier is just in case if I want to use barrel bombs, because I had a lot of extra 1 slots. But the build will grant you level 7 attack boost, which will increase your damage by 10%, in giving you a flat increase of 10 to your base raw. Your crit boost, which will increase your damage 100, which the crit boost will always proc with this weapon since it is 100% affinity, which basically gives you a flat out 40% damage increase with critical boost 3. Since we are using Sword and Shield and we can proc offensive guard, we will get a plus 15% attack increase thanks to offensive guard. So right there, that's 65% increase in damage on top of 10 flat raw. And then we have speed sharpening, stun resistance, and Bombardier for nice utility skills. Handicraft level 2 from the Sinister Gauntlets to get us into blue sharpness, and level 2 protective polish to have our sharpness last. The only thing that I wish I had was maybe some room for Wirebug Whisper thanks to Silkbind boost, but sadly I don't have the room. You'd have to have like an attack boost level 2 with a level 3 slot and Wirebug Whisper on said build, on said talisman, and that would be quite hard to get. Anyways, for our next one, we got the Kurenawi Ogi. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it is Mizutsune's Water SNS. This is going to be the first of our elemental sword and shields. And we are kicking things off with Mizutsune's Sword and Shield, which grants you 198 attack after attack boost 3. And again, just like in the Insect Glaive video, the reason why we use attack boost 3 over water boost 2 is because attack boost 3 will give us more damage than water boost 2 will give us. If it was water boost 3, then we would have gone water boost 3. Now, for our sharpness is white sharpness after 1 level of handicraft, but we'll get into that in a minute. We got 19 hits of water, 15% base affinity, 0 defense bonus, and 1 decoration slot. For our build, we are using the Kaiser Crown helmet, the AnimeALX, the Valstrax braces, the Anjanath Coil S, the Golden Hakama, and the Fatal. And then for my Fatal Tempest Talisman is our attack boost level 2, our Divine Blessing level 1, with level 3 and a level 1 slot. Now, if you do not have the extra level 1 slot, then you just have to use Speed Sharpening level 2. But for the decorations, you will need 5 Stream Jewel 1s, 3 Grinder Jewel 1s if you can fit them all in the build. So 2 to 3. You need 2 Sharp Jewel 2s, 1 Guardian Jewel 3, and 1 Tenderizer Jewel 2, and that is it for the build. Now, for the status, you will be gaining 30% affinity before latent power proc. So with latent power, you'd get like 90% affinity, including weakness exploit, so 80 to 90. If you want to use a fighter cat just to get 100 consistent, then feel free to do so. You also gain a 5% increase thanks to a 5% increase in damage thanks to offensive guard level 1. Now, if you would rather have protective polish level 3, then you can replace Guardian Jewel level 3. I have it there just for the 5% increase since it's very easy to proc. You will need 1 level of Handicraft Jewel 3 for white sharpness, and I believe that is it for our water sword and shield. Coming out to our fire sword and shield, we are using the Blazing Falchion, which is Rathalos' sword and shield. Now, it has been a minute since we've used a Rathalos weapon in a fire capacity, and mainly because it feels like Anjanath weapons usually are the better fire weapons in this game, outside of Longsword being another Rathalos. Oh, outside of Longsword and like Bowgun being other 2 Rathalos weapons that are prominent in their fire category of the meta in their respective weapons category. But here we are using the Blazing Falchion, and our attack is 200. The sharpness is blue, natural blue. It has a pretty decent hits of it. Our fire is a whopping 33 hits of fire. We have 0% affinity and no slots. And for our rampage slot is elemental exploit, of course. So it increases our elemental damage by I don't even remember the percentage it increases. I think it's 20%, but you know, it increases our damage, our fire output. For the build, we have the Kaiser Crown helmet, the Vikemail S, the Kaiser Van braces, the Anjanath Coil S, the Ingot Greaves S, and for the Fatal Tempest Talisman is our Weakness Exploit level 1, Wirebug Whisper level 1 with a 3 and a 1 slot. You do need the 1 slot. If you do not have the 1 slot, then you basically have to take away Speed Sharpening. Sadly, however, with the Speed Sharpening, you will only get level 1, so be sure to eat for Dongo Sharpener so you can at least get Speed Sharpening level 2. Now, Crit Eye. This build will grant us Crit Eye level 6, Fire Attack level 5, Attack Boost level 4, Critical Boost level 3, Weakness Exploit level 3, Offensive Guard level 2, and speed sharpening level 1. If you are wondering why we are using Teostra's arms, it is because of Teostra's blessing, granting us a 5% increase to our fire attack damage. Offensive guard will grant us a 10% increase to our attack damage through guarding. We have attack boost level 4, granting us a 5% increase in damage and a +7 flat. Fire attack level 5, granting us 20% increase in fire attack, and then level 6, granting us like 30% affinity. We aren't using protective polish on this build because we don't have the room to fit it in, but you do have sufficient enough hits of blue sharpness, and your affinity will be 30% on base. So feel free to use a fighter cat so you can get 110% affinity, so you can always constantly be critting. If not, and you do so choose to use a paladin, you will get 80% affinity, which isn't that bad. And you get a whopping 45 hits of fire. This sword and shield right here will melt any fire weak monster. Now, going down to our thunder sword and shield is going to be one of my personal favorite sword and shields. Next to like the Nargacuga sword and shield is going to be the Despot's Crook Bolt, which is an ogre's sword and shield. You will gain 200 raw attack. Sharpness will be blue, natural blue. Element is 33 hits of thunder, 0% affinity, 2/1 slots, and our rampage slot is going to be Thunder Boost 2. Now, if you are fighting aquatic species like leviathans and piscine wyverns, then feel free to use anti-aquatic species, because that would boost your damage output by an additional 10% damage, which would be more than Thunder Boost 2. We are using the same build as before. The only difference in the build is going to be the decorations. And the only difference is the arms will be changed to Valstrax braces, since we don't get any benefit from using Teostra's arms in this build. For the Fatal Tempest Talisman, we are still using our Weakness Exploit level 1 with a 3 and a 1 slot with Wirebug Whisper level 1. Again, if you don't have the extra 1 slot in your talisman, then you basically just feel free to drop Grinder Jewel level 1s. You will need, for this build, 5 Bolt Jewel level 1s, so you can get Thunder Attack level 5, increasing your Thunder Attack damage by 20%. You will need 2 Critical Jewel 2s, so you can get Crit Boost level 3. You will need... actually, you don't even need any Tenderizer Jewels. I forgot. We get the extra Tenderizer level from the talisman. You need 3 Grinder Jewel 1s if you can fit them in. If not, then just drop it to 2 and then eat for Dongo's Sharpener. And then you'll need 2 Guardian Jewel 3s so you can get another 10% increase in damage when you block. Funny enough, for this build, you have 2 options. You can either go 1 level of protective polish, which I don't actually think is worth it because it kind of runs out way too fast. But what I decided to do in my extra 2 slot is use critical element, which coming over here will grant elemental damage a +5% while active. And since we have some pretty decent crit already, we have 25% affinity. Using a fighter cat, we will get 55% affinity, and then with weakness exploit on weak zones, you'll get 105% affinity. Thus concluding our Thunder Sword and Shield build. Coming down to our Dragonstorm shield build, this is going to be the big boy. I will say, because a lot of your skills will be maxed out over here. You will need the we are using Valstrax's or Crimson Glow's Valstrax's Vermilion Oracle. We have it ramped up for Wyvern Exploit because we're mainly going to be using this for Basarios, Rathian, and Rathalos. If you are, however, fighting Allmother, Narwa, or Ibushi, then you will feel free to use attack boost level 3. Attack is 180. Sharpness is white sharpness. Element is 34 hits of dragon, 0% affinity in a level 2 slot. We are using the Kaiser Crown Helmet, the Elecanth Thorax S, the Valstrax Braces, the Anjanath Coil S, and the Ingot Greaves S. And then for our Fatal Tempest Talisman is our attack boost level 3 and 2 levels of speed sharpening. I will say, if you do not have this talisman, like always, just feel free to use attack boost level 2 with a level 2 slot at least. But however, if you do have this specific talisman, it will grant you access to speed sharpening level 3. If you do not have access to this talisman, then you just have to use speed sharpening level 1 with Dongo Sharpener. For the decorations of this build, you will need 4 Dragon Jewel level 1s, because Elecanth Thorax gives you the extra level of dragon attack in the chest. You need 1 Tenderizer Jewel level 2. You'll need 2 Critical Jewel level 2s. And if you can fit them in, 3 Grinder Jewel level 1s. And then you'll get this build that has level 7 attack boost, increasing your damage by 10% with 10 flat raw. Crit eye level 7, giving you 40% affinity. Combine that with weakness exploits, 50% affinity on hit or weak zones. You get 90% affinity from base, so you don't really have to use a fighter cap. You got Dragon Attack level 5 from this build, granting you 20% damage increase in your element. Crit Boost, which is going to pair really nicely with Crit Eye level 7 and Weakness Exploit level 3, granting you a 40% damage increase consistently. Speed Sharpening level 3 as a nice utility skill, and we get level 1 crit element from the Elecanth Thorax, increasing our elemental damage by another 5% on crits. So very stacked Sword and Shield. I would recommend wholeheartedly getting the Valstrax weapons for fights like Dread, or I was about to say Dread Queen, but Apex Rathian and Apex Rathalos. But they're essentially just Dread Queen and Dread King. And wait a minute here. Is this the last Sword and Shield? It is the last Sword and Shield. And for the last Sword and Shield is actually the recent Sword and Shield that I made, which is the Daora's Razor. This is going to be the best ice Sword and Shield because of the flat out white sharpness, despite it doing less raw than Basarog's. Daora's Razor comes with 180 attack, which is kind of low. The sharpness is natural white. A whopping 36 hits of ice damage, which I think is higher than Gossarog's ice Sword and Shield. The affinity is 10%, and you get a 1 slot. Decoration, no defense bonuses. A rampage slot is, of course, Kushala Daora's Soul, which will grant us an additional 30% affinity, rounding us to 40% affinity if you consistently attack. And our build is the Kaiser Crown. Our build is the Kaiser Crown Helmet, AnimeALX, Valstrax Braces, Anjanath Coil S, and the Golden Hakama Legs. Our Fatal Tempest Talismans are Attack Boost level 2, Divine Blessing level 1, with a 3 and a 1 slot. Of course, If you do not have the talisman, then just drop the level of speed sharpening. And we are using the Demon Pellants 3, and for your decorations, you will need 5 Frost Jewel level 1s. You will need 2 Sharp Jewel level 2s, 2 Guardian Jewel level 3s, 1 Tenderizer Jewel level 2s, and that is it. For the status of this weapon, you'll gain 25% affinity, but that will basically get boosted up to 55% affinity if you keep on attacking, thanks to Kushala Deora Soul, which if you're constantly attacking weak zones, it will be 100% affinity from the get-go. This would have been really nice to, you know, combine with critical element, but sadly we do not have the slots for it. I mean, if you want to sacrifice a level or a Guardian Jewel 3 for critical element, I guess feel free to do so, but I'm pretty sure a 10% increase to your overall raw is better than a 10% increase overall into your, or a 5% overall increase to your element alongside a 5% increase to your attack. So that is it for the build. You basically will gain level 5 ice attack, level 4 attack boost, level 3 crit eye, level 3 crit boost, and level 3 weakness exploit, with having level 2 offensive guard for a nice boost in damage, and level 2 protective polish and level 3 speed sharpening for utility. That is it for all the builds, and that is it for all the best builds in Sunbreak. My next YouTube video will be a discussion on the Sunbreak demo right before Sunbreak happens, and then I will be posting some Sunbreak content on my YouTube. I'll probably just upload streams from my Twitch, so go to my Twitch, links down and below in the description. Be followed over there, and feel free to subscribe, comment, share, and like, and do all that stuff because it helps me out. And let's try to reach 300. Let's try to reach 300 subscribers. I am talking really fast, and also it means a lot to me that we actually got 251 subscribers at this point in time, which isn't a lot, granted, but it's a lot more than I envisioned myself would get on YouTube, since it's a very hard platform to come up and get a following in. So to all those people that subscribe to me, thank you. You guys really do push me in trying to make more Monster Hunter content, and I really want to grow within the Monster Hunter community. So, you know, share my name out there and whatnot. If you feel free to do so. You don't